My husband Marcus said he'd take me traveling next vacation, but he broke his promise again. The day before we were supposed to leave, he told me he had to go out of state for work. However, the next morning, I inadvertently saw a social media post from his assistant, Chloe, showing them lying side by side on a beach, sunbathing. The caption read, "My boss spent last vacation moon-gazing with me, and this one watching the sea. Everyone, help me think, where should he take me next holiday? P.S. Looking for a photogenic spot. The boss looks so handsome in the photos." I paused for 2 seconds, then calmly commented, "The courthouse. Not only does it make for good pictures, but you can also get a marriage certificate." Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. My colleagues, who were in the know, went wild, sending text messages back and forth, speculating on how I would react, whether I'd be jealous. My husband called me first, his tone full of impatience. "Why are you so petty? What's wrong with sunbathing together? Can't I relax a little when I'm on a business trip? Besides, we're already married. There will be so many holidays in the future, I'll go with you next time." Listening to his identical excuses, I couldn't help but scoff. There won't be a next time. When the vacation ends, our divorce decree will be finalized. I hung up the phone and, when I returned to the company, everyone was speculating on how my husband, the CEO, would punish me this time. Drinks for his assistant, Chloe, again? Or would he dock half a year of my bonus again to compensate his assistant, Chloe, for emotional distress? They only quieted down when they saw me, but their eyes were still full of mockery. I was used to it. After all, everyone knew about the complicated relationship between me, Marcus, and his assistant Chloe. Marcus was my husband, yet he was extremely partial to Chloe. He had broken protocol to hire Chloe into the company, giving her many resources, yet Chloe messed up every time, but always believed in her, constantly finding ways to encourage her. Once, he even gave her a project that I had spent half a year trying to secure. A profit of over $1 million turned into a mere $100,000 due to her carelessness, yet praised her lavishly, saying that making a profit was a good start and that he believed Chloe would get better and better. At the same time, I merely forgot to adjust the font size on a contract, and even though it had no impact, I had my entire year's bonus docked. Marcus said he was intentionally strict with me to avoid suspicion, but that very evening, I saw Chloe's social media post, showing Marcus giving my bonus to Chloe. I angrily confronted Marcus. He, however, was unfazed. "Chloe has only been with the company for half a year, of course she deserves a proper reward. And you've already received so much over the years, do you really need this small amount?" I argued, "It's not about the money." Marcus humored me with words, but impatiently waved his hand. "We're a couple. The company is mine, which means it's yours. As my wife, you should support my work." Seeing that I was still upset, he offered to take me traveling. But ever since Chloe joined the company, every time Marcus said he'd accompany me, Chloe would suddenly disrupt the plans. We'd planned to see a movie, and that evening Chloe would drag Marcus into overtime. Marcus would plan to celebrate my birthday with me, and Chloe would complain that the client was giving her a hard time. I would wait alone at the agreed spot for 2 hours, only to receive a phone call from Marcus apologizing for breaking his promise. So, initially, I didn't believe him. But before the vacation, Marcus packed a suitcase, booked plane tickets, and even planned the itinerary. I chose to believe him this one last time. As expected, he disappointed me again. But this time, I wasn't angry. Under everyone's expectant gazes, I walked into Emily's office and submitted the resignation form I had printed a month ago. Emily was a bit surprised. "You're leaving?" I nodded. "Then I need to report this to Mr. Marcus." As she spoke, Emily was about to send a text message, but I calmly said, "Make a call." Chloe was witty and often made Marcus happy, so when he was with Chloe, he usually wouldn't be distracted by text messages. Whenever I sent a text message, I often had to wait until the next day for a reply. Now, I didn't want to wait anymore. Emily was reluctant, but due to my position, she still dialed Marcus's number. "Mr. Marcus, Ms. Grace is going to." Before she could finish, Marcus interrupted her coldly. "Whatever she wants to do, just follow company procedures. There's no need to ask me. Do you really need me to personally teach you company procedures?" Clearly, Marcus was still angry with me because of my comment. Emily didn't dare to speak. Marcus added, "Also, let me say this again, send text messages for non-urgent matters. Make fewer calls." With that, he mercilessly hung up. Just as he hung up, I still heard Chloe's familiar voice. "Marcus, why are you so angry?" Was that Grace on the phone? Emily, having been scolded, looked at me with a poor expression, but didn't dare to speak too harshly. You heard Mr. Marcus. Just take back your resignation form, and I'll pretend I never saw it. I won't tell anyone about this. Clearly, Emily didn't think I would actually resign. She believed it was just my usual way of expressing dissatisfaction with Marcus, a form of threat. It was true. Marcus and I had been married for 8 years, co-founding the company after our marriage. Even the company name was a blend of our names. No one would believe I would truly leave. I shook my head, my voice firm, then let's proceed with the process. Emily was a bit surprised and tried to persuade me twice more, but seeing that my mind was made up, she stamped and approved my resignation application, initiating the handover process. News of my resignation quickly spread throughout the company. While surprised, everyone unanimously concluded that I was trying to threaten Marcus with my resignation. Backfired. I didn't explain. After packing my belongings, I calmly walked out the door. Just as I reached the company entrance, Emily suddenly rushed towards me, holding her phone. Wait, Mr. Marcus called and said he needs to talk to you. A commotion erupted around us. Someone chuckled. Who would have thought? That playing hard to get tactic actually worked. Mr. Marcus really falls for that. After all, they've been married for 8 years. Even a dog would have feelings after 8 years. Listening to the hushed jeers, I paused and took the phone. On speakerphone, Marcus's voice quickly reached everyone's ears, opening with an immediate accusation. Grace, why aren't you answering my calls? What if you mess up something important? Will you take responsibility? Go to Chloe's workstation immediately. There's a document that needs to be delivered to the client. Go quickly, the client needs it urgently. Everyone paused, then whispered in amusement. I loosely held the phone. Even though I had long known Marcus didn't care about me anymore, I still felt a chill in my heart. Not long ago, to make it easier for Chloe to order me around, he specifically transferred Chloe to my level, claiming we should help each other, but in reality, he dumped all of Chloe's miscellaneous tasks onto me. Now, the news of my resignation must have reached his phone, yet he was still making me run errands for Chloe. I scoffed, no longer trying to maintain this unequal relationship, and instead retorted, why should I be responsible for Chloe's affairs? Perhaps not expecting me to ask that so suddenly, Marcus froze for a moment. Before he could continue his tirade, I continued, also, I don't have time. Whoever's document it is, they should deliver it. With that, I hung up the phone directly and returned the phone to Emily. Then, under the shocked and surprised gazes of everyone, I walked straight out of the company. Not long after walking out of the company gates, I looked back at the office building that had been my workplace for 8 years. Through the glass window, I saw that the houseplant I had given Marcus, a piece, was withered on his office windowsill, while the houseplant Chloe had given him, a money, was thriving vibrantly beside it. I smiled faintly, took out my phone, and made a call. I've thought about the project you mentioned before. I'm willing to join your team. Upon hearing that I had agreed to join, the person on the other end of the line was thrilled. They immediately sent over the contract and even wanted me to fly over that very day and start at the company the next. Their sincerity was clear. Our boss has tried to recruit you over a dozen times. He's very keen on having you. I thanked them but decided to set my start date after the vacation. I love to travel, to see mountains and rivers. Marcus used to enjoy accompanying me, but after Chloe appeared, we never traveled again, and my hopes were dashed time and time again. This time, Marcus broke his promise, but I couldn't break my promise to myself. Even without Marcus on this journey, I still wanted to go through with it. As soon as I hung up the call, Chloe sent me a text message. Sorry, Grace, you're about to divorce Marcus. Logically, I shouldn't bother you too, but he suggested this trip, and I didn't want to disappoint him. Oh, and your divorce decree should be finalized soon, right? Marcus's birthday is coming up. You can give him the divorce decree as a gift. I'm sure he'd be thrilled, since he doesn't love you anyway. She then sent an accompanying picture. Marcus and she had taken a set of professional photos on the beach. In the photo, Marcus was lifting her high, his smile brighter than the sun behind them. I understood Chloe was provoking me. She knew about my impending divorce. To be precise, she was the one who submitted the divorce agreement for Marcus's signature. At the time, Chloe held the agreement she'd found in my desk, her face full of provocation. Grace, are you really getting a divorce? Do you want me to help you get Marcus's signature? I'm worried you'll break down crying on the spot when you see him sign. Her intention was merely to humiliate me and provoke my anger. But I nodded, sure. Marcus didn't trust me. he would scrutinize every contract I submitted as if with a magnifying glass. But was different, Marcus trusted her implicitly. When handed it over, Marcus signed without even looking. This divorce went more smoothly than our marriage. I didn't know if Marcus loved me, but I believed he was fully aware of Chloe's constant provocations and assertions of dominance in front of me during this time. Since that was the case, this marriage no longer had any meaning. I didn't reply. I called the courthouse and learned I could pick up the documents in a week. It would be right after the vacation ended. I returned home, tore down our photo wall, threw out everything that belonged to me, packed my luggage, bought a plane ticket, and embarked on a solo journey. On the first day of vacation, I went to Lakefront City. This was a travel plan Marcus and I had made 3 years ago. Back then, Chloe had just started, and the company was flourishing. Marcus said we couldn't relax then, so our plan was shelved and never restarted. On the second day of vacation, I stopped at a grand historic landmark in the mountains. Marcus was afraid of altitude sickness and had been hesitant to come here. Later, I worked tirelessly, practically working myself to the bone to secure 20 projects in 1 year, and he finally agreed to accompany me. But before we left, Chloe fell ill, and he said Chloe had no friends here, so as her boss, he had to take care of her. The plan was cancelled. I traveled north. And on the last day of vacation, I reached the final stop of my trip, our originally planned destination, Lake. Only then did I realize that the scenery I had yearned to see for 3 years but couldn't due to various reasons, could actually be seen completely in just 7 days. Finally, guest house. Vacation over, I was ready to embrace my new life, with no intention of looking back. Nor did I plan to see Marcus one last time, but I never expected such a coincidence. That evening, as I left the boutique hotel, I actually saw Marcus and Chloe there. They were both by the bonfire, eating barbecue. I knew I should avoid them and turn away, but this type of large bonfire party only happened once a month, and I didn't want them to disrupt my plans. With that thought, I decided to find a spot far from them, but spotted me first. He stood up and walked towards me, his tone impatient. "Why are you here? Didn't I say I'd take you next time?" I didn't speak, my gaze falling on the distinctive local matching souvenir bracelets they were wearing on their wrists. Long ago, I had said that if we ever came here to travel, we absolutely had to buy 2 matching souvenir bracelets and have our names engraved on them. Now, I saw the one he was wearing. One of the beads was engraved with Chloe's initial. Noticing my gaze, Chloe deliberately twisted the matching souvenir bracelet on her wrist, revealing the bead engraved with Marcus's initial. I scoffed internally. I wasn't surprised. Seeming to notice my gaze, Marcus instinctively hid the matching souvenir bracelet behind his back, his eyes darting away. "Chloe and I happened to be passing through here on a business trip. I remembered you always wanted to come, so I thought I'd scout it out for you first. Never mind. Since you're already here, let's grab something to eat together." With that, he turned to Chloe and said, "Change tomorrow's plane ticket, push it back 2 days. Chloe's gaze flickered with a hint of displeasure as she ID'd playfully, "Grace, you really picked the perfect time to show up, right on the last day of vacation. But, I need to get back to work early. Just change 1 ticket, and you can stay here and spend more time with Grace." Saying this, she pulled out her phone. Marcus frowned slightly, and indeed said, "Never mind, don't change the tickets yet. Work is more important. Grace, you too. Your timing is really off. Wait for the next vacation. The company is about to go public, we can't let our guard down right now." Hearing this, Chloe smugly gave me a victor's look. Petty again, Marcus then told Chloe, "Book her return ticket with mine. She'll sit with me." Before could say anything, I spoke up first. "No need, At that moment, the roar of a massive flame rising in the distance swallowed the latter half of my sentence. Marcus frowned. "What?" Chloe's brown eyes glinted with cunning. "The party started, Marcus. Go watch. I'll handle Grace." Marcus clearly wasn't focused on me. He nodded, gave a casual instruction, and then walked forward with the crowd. As soon as he left, Chloe revealed her true colors. She crossed her arms and scrutinized me. "Grace, didn't you decide to get a divorce? Why are you deliberately trying to find out about us from Emily and chasing us down? Is this fun for you?" I understood she had misunderstood. But the divorce decree would be finalized soon, and I couldn't be bothered to explain to her. Chloe, however, was relentless, her eyes flashing with malice. "Since you insist on disturbing us, let's see who Marcus will truly choose." Before I could react, she pushed me hard. I lost my balance and fell onto the raging bonfire. The scorching pain made me cry out. The sound attracted a lot of attention. Marcus also heard the commotion. Seeing me fall onto the bonfire, his expression changed for a moment, and he rushed to help me up. But in an instant, he saw Chloe beside him, clutching her hand and looking tearful. "What happened to your ha? Andy?" Marcus immediately turned on his heel, went to Chloe's side, and anxiously took her hand. He blew on Chloe's merely reddened hand. Then, he looked at me with cold eyes, his tone devoid of its previous tenderness. He said coldly, "Grace, they're petty. I really thought you had learned your lesson, but I didn't expect you to accuse Chloe in such a way. Apologize to Chloe immediately, or do you want me to send you packing right now?" I clutched my scalding, blistered foot, too much in pain to speak. Marcus, however, thought I was deliberately defying him. "Don't think playing the victim will make me help you. This whole thing is your fault to begin with." He was about to say something else when Ethan, the Fair Guesthouse front desk, walked out. "Ms. Grace, your divorce decree has arrived." Marcus's face turned pale as he looked towards the front desk. "What?" The front desk staff didn't reply to him. Having stayed there for 2 extra days, the front desk staff already knew me. Seeing me on the ground, he rushed forward to help me up, asking solicitously if I needed to see a doctor. I shook my head and took the divorce decree from his hand. Ethan said apologetically, "You told me to contact you immediately when the divorce decree arrived, but I couldn't reach you by phone just now. Plus, my shift is almost over, and I was worried you wouldn't get it today, so I came out to find you. Your foot is badly burned. Let me take you to the hospital to get it checked out, it's nearby." He helped me stand up. But after only 2 steps, Marcus blocked our way and asked again, "What divorce decree?" Ethan chuckled, "What else could it be? Is there anything else a divorce decree could be besides a document for divorce?" I didn't know if it was my imagination, but Ethan's words seemed to carry a subtle hint of challenge. Marcus didn't pick up on it. His gaze fell on the green-covered document in my hand. He snatched it without hesitation and flipped it open. Seeing the names in D photos, his face suddenly turned ashen. But quickly, as if he'd thought of something, he sneered, "Are you trying to scare me with a fake divorce decree? Don't think I'll fall for that." Perhaps I had prepared myself mentally long ago, for facing Marcus's repeated distrust, I remained calm, no longer feeling the sadness I once did. I said calmly, "Since you've already seen the divorce decree, let's make things clear here. Marcus, we are divorced. And the divorce decree is real. If you don't believe me, you can call the courthouse now and check." My tone remained calm throughout. Perhaps he felt that at this point, there was no need for me to lie to him, and Marcus's face suddenly turned ashen. He stood stunned, and after a moment, asked, "Why? Who agreed to divorce you?" I didn't speak, but he seemed to understand, accusing me. "Just because I didn't take you on a trip due to a business trip, you're going to divorce me?" I looked at his exasperated face, a phrase I had heard many times before. This time, I didn't argue hysterically with him. I simply chuckled. "Perhaps you think it's unnecessary, and I can't force you to change your mind. But the reason no longer matters. I'm giving you your freedom." I had thought that divorcing him and making space for Chloe would make him happy, but to my surprise, he became even angrier, tearing the divorce decree to shreds in a few swift movements. "Grace, I didn't agree to divorce you. Marriage requires both our consent. How can you just say you're getting a divorce? Tomorrow, you're coming with me to remarry and revoke this divorce." Seeing his attitude, I was slightly surprised. But I quickly shook my head. "Impossible." Marcus's face turned white with rage, seeming on the verge of an outburst. Chloe quickly stepped forward, took his hand, and whispered something in his ear. In just a few words, Marcus's anger dissipated. Seeing this, I didn't stay. I turned and limped away. Ethan from the front desk, worried about infection, offered to take me to the hospital, but I declined his kindness. Previously, Marcus often hurt himself due to his carelessness, so after a few incidents, I developed the habit of carrying medicine with me. Moreover, minor burns like this had happened many times when I was learning to cook for Marcus, so I knew how to treat them. Ethan hesitated, and finally, as he escorted me to my room, seeing no one around, he said to me, "I shouldn't really interfere with your personal affairs, but there are some things I want to say. Actually, I saw your argument just now, and I intentionally handed over the divorce decree. I've seen your husband and that woman next to him together many times these past few days. They've been inseparable and even shared a room. I also overheard them discussing that they plan to divorce you after the company goes public." Hearing this, I understood. No wonder Marcus reacted so strongly when he learned about my divorce earlier. I thanked him, and after treating my wounds in my room, I began to pack my luggage. I knew Marcus would come looking for me again, but I didn't expect it so soon. Just as I was about to rest, there was a knock on my door. Guest house, I didn't think much of it. But as soon as I opened the door, I saw Marcus standing there, holding a takeout container. He looked at my bandaged foot, his thin lips pressed together. "Is your injury better?" His voice was gentle and considerate. I remembered it had been at least 3 years since I heard him speak to me in such a tone. Seeing that I didn't respond, he added, "I noticed you didn't eat much today, so I just bought some local specialties. Grace, let's talk properly." I smiled. "I don't think there's anything left to discuss. I've already resigned from your company, and we're now divorced. The asset division followed the prenuptial agreement, so you shouldn't have any objections, and we don't have children. I don't want to divorce you." Before I could finish, Marcus interrupted me. His voice was somewhat unnatural. He pursed his lips and added, "These external things are indeed clearly divided, but we still have 8 years of history together. We've been married for 8 years, Grace. You might be able to let go, but I can't." He gazed at me with profound affection, as if he were the victim, as if I had abandoned him without cause. I found it amusing. "You'll divorce me now and marry Chloe. After 8 years, you two will also have such a deep connection. Or even deeper than ours," I added. Marcus, however, seemed to lose his temper. Biting his lip, he suppressed his anger and said, "I knew this was about Chloe. But I've already explained to you before, I have nothing to do with her." I chuckled. "Nothing to do with her? Then why do you funnel all resources to her, make excuses for business trips to ditch me again and again for her sake, and now you're even sharing a room with her? Marcus, you say it means nothing. Do you even believe that yourself?" Marcus's face turned pale. "The boutique hotel," I sneered. "Is that so? Such a coincidence? Well, how about we go down and see if there are any rooms left?" Saying this, I took a step toward the door, making a move to leave. Marcus panicked, as expected, and tried to argue, but I had already guessed what he was going to say. I asked one question after another. "Even if there are no rooms here, guest house nearby? Marcus, do you remember when we faced the same problem during our pre-wedding trip? What did you do then? You took me around almost the entire city. I was exhausted then, and I even promised you I'd sleep on the couch, but you still refused without hesitation. You told me a wise person doesn't put themselves in a compromising position, and that before deciding to marry, you would ensure you wouldn't cross any lines. So why are you standing in a compromising position now? Do you think that wall won't fall on you? Or is it because you already knew it was and a compromising position, but rather your own wall?" I finished calmly, and Marcus's face was almost completely drained of color. There was no trace of pity left in my eyes as I calmly asked him, "What else do you want to talk about? I can have a proper conversation with you." Marcus was speechless. He gritted his teeth and finally said, "Grace, if you insist on thinking that way, there's nothing I can do." With that, he huffily turned and left. I stopped him. "Wait a moment." A flicker of hope appeared in Marcus's eyes. Just as he was about to speak, I pointed to the food he had brought. "Take these things with you. I'm afraid eating something unsanitary will give me an upset stomach." Marcus glared at me, then more angrily grabbed the items, slamming the door shut as he left. That evening, he voluntarily posted a social media post, a collage of photos, including a smiling selfie of him and Chloe. The caption read, "Suddenly I looked back, and there she was, where the lights glowed softly." The comments section of the social media post exploded. Previously, Chloe often posted photos with Marcus, accompanied by ambiguous captions. Even though everyone knew what was going on, Marcus remained silent, so people only hinted at it. But this time, Marcus himself posted the update. Everyone commented rapidly. "Is this an official announcement? So, does this mean Mr. Marcus is really divorced from Grace?" Marcus didn't say much under each comment, simply replying with a facepalm emoji and a playful emoji. I knew he was trying to provoke me, but in truth, I was no longer paying attention to him. Even this social media post was later sent to me by a friend, asking for an explanation. When I saw the text message, I had already arrived in the city where my new company was located and had completed the onboarding procedures. The new company offered nearly 10 times better benefits than before. On my first day, David, the director, even hosted a lavish welcome dinner for me. After several rounds of drinks, David, the director, happily clapped me on the shoulder, fraternizing with me. When the party ended, he personally drove me home. As it turned out, while I was in the car, Marcus called me. I had intended to decline the call, but being a bit tipsy, I accidentally answered. Marcus's voice came through. "Grace, you've made your point for long enough. Your anger must have subsided, right? Let's call a truce, okay? I know you've been making such a scene, and that your resignation was all because of Chloe. I've just fired her. Surely that's enough to satisfy you, isn't it? I promise you, when you come back, I'll not only give you a raise but also take you traveling. David, the director, was sitting right beside me. At the mention of a raise, his eyes instantly widened like saucers. He jolted upright and took the phone from my hand. Forget about it. Grace has already joined our company. We've given her the best benefits in the industry. No one is going to poach her. With that, without waiting for Marcus to reply, David hung up the phone directly and then blocked and deleted the number. Before he could hand me the phone, he was already drunk and asleep again. I couldn't help but smile wryly. I took the phone from his hand and put it away. Marcus and I had no relationship anymore. His number should have been deleted long ago, but I had been too busy with my new job to get around to it. Deleting it now was perfectly timed. I thought Marcus would be angry and wouldn't call again, but to my surprise, just as I dropped David off at home and was getting ready to wash up, Marcus called again from a different number. By the time I saw it, there were several missed calls, and several text messages from Marcus. Perhaps knowing he had gone too far, he didn't question why I had blocked his number. Instead, his tone was humble. Grace, I know I was wrong. I lost my way and was out of my mind when I treated you like that. Please forgive me, okay? Please come back. I really miss you. I love you so much. If you just come back, I promise I'll listen to you about everything this time. Nothing like this will ever happen again. Grace, I'm sorry. Please forgive me just one last time, okay? The content of the messages was exactly what I expected. Unfortunately, it was too late for him to realize his mistake now. I deleted the messages, then blocked this number as well. After that, I focused on my new job. Without the awkward dynamic with Marcus and Chloe, and without everyone's sneers and ridicule, my colleagues were incredibly enthusiastic and supportive. When starting new projects, they would even tell me the key points and challenges. During workdays, they would also send friendly reminders in the group chat about rain, telling everyone to bring umbrellas and warm clothing. I remembered a time when I was on vacation and it suddenly rained, but Marcus had forgotten his umbrella. Worried about him, I rushed back to the company near the end of the day to give him my umbrella. Yet, when he left work, he was still drenched like a drowned rat. My heart ached for him. When I asked what happened, he said he'd lost the umbrella. But the next day, I found out that Marcus had given his only umbrella to Chloe. Perhaps even Marcus himself didn't realize that his favoritism towards Chloe had become a habit, ingrained in his every action. At this point, free from the daily pain and torment, I felt much more at ease. What I didn't expect, however, was that Marcus would actually seek me out that day. I had just gotten off work and was planning to see a movie with a friend. As I exited the company gates, I saw Marcus waiting by the entrance. He looked thin, and despite usually being meticulous about his appearance, he had dark circles under his eyes. He looked tired and haggard. For a moment, I almost didn't recognize him. Seeing me, Marcus quickly rushed forward. Before I could react, he wrapped his arms around me. Grace, do you really hate me that much? Enough to not even reply to my messages? Do you know how tormenting this period has been for me? I'm serious, I'm not lying. I truly miss you. He choked up, tears continuously streaming down his face. In the past, every time he cried, I would feel a pang of sympathy and surrender. But this time, I merely pulled him off me with a blank expression. I don't hate you. Before hope could flicker in Marcus's eyes, my words quickly poured like cold water, but I don't love you either. Frankly, you're just a very familiar stranger to me now. How much torment, how much sorrow, how much regret, how much love you feel, it no longer concerns me. Marcus, stop contacting me. Marcus was unwilling to accept it, shaking his head vehemently. I don't believe you could be so heartless towards me. Clearly, not give up. Seeing this, I didn't explain further, simply saying calmly, I already have a boyfriend. So whether you believe it or not, please stop bothering me. I don't want my boyfriend to misunderstand. As if struck by lightning, Marcus froze on the spot the moment I said that. His thin lips trembled, and he quickly forced a pale smile. Impossible, you're lying to me, right? I haven't let go of our 8 years of history. How could you have possibly let go? I don't believe it, Grace. I know you're acting out of spite. You want to deliberately make me suffer. He continued rambling incoherently. Don't you remember, when we decided to get married, you said you'd always be good to me, that you'd always love me? I know you like to travel, and I've planned our trips and itinerary. Look, for the next month, I'll be with you until you forgive me. As he spoke, he frantically pulled out his phone and opened his calendar. Indeed, as he said, the entire next month was filled with travel plans, meticulously detailing where to go each day, along with local snacks and tourist attractions. Marcus had little patience and disliked making plans. He had always left such matters to me. It was clear he was serious this time. Unfortunately, it was too late. Just as I was about to speak, a male voice called out, "Grace, didn't we say we'd watch a movie? Why are you still here?" Ethan, a cheerful young man in a white shirt and black trousers, walked to my side and, smiling, put his arm around me. This was Ethan, the young man from the front desk. We occasionally kept in touch. He'd bring me local delicacies and take me to explore nearby cities. We shared many interests and had become very good friends. Recently, we'd started dating. Seeing Marcus's face visibly drained of color. "You're..." Ethan nodded, tightening his grip on my arm. "I'm Grace's current boyfriend. I remember you. I was the one who checked you into your boutique hotel room back at Lake." Marcus's eyes widened. "It's you? What makes you think a front desk clerk like you can be with Grace?" He tried to assert his authority over Ethan, to embarrass him, but it didn't work. Ethan's smile remained bright. "Why not? If two people love each other, do they need to consider their social standing to be together? The only validation for love is love itself. Grace just needs to know that I love her, and only her, and then we can be together. Similarly, I just need to know that you and Grace are divorced, and that she doesn't love you anymore, and then I can accept her." As he spoke, as if to make a point, Ethan squeezed my hand tightly and flashed a brilliant smile at me. Marcus looked utterly distraught. "What are you talking about?" He pointed at Ethan, his demeanor almost crazed. "Did you say something to Grace that made her insist on divorcing me? You scoundrel. Do you dare to compete with me fairly and honorably?" Ethan chuckled, lifting our clasped hands. "You might not understand yet, but we're already together. Why would I need to compete with you? Besides, I, who only met Grace once, have already won against you, who was with her for 8 years. Even if we were to compete, do you think you'd still have a chance to win?" Marcus was speechless. He stood frozen in place. It seemed he was finally experiencing the helplessness and pain I had felt when 8 years of emotions were discarded like nothing. He was about to say something else when an incoming phone call vibrated in his pocket. It was from his secretary. Marcus pressed to answer. Before the other person could speak, he said grudgingly, "Inform everyone that the company address will be moved next month." As he spoke, he looked up at me, acting out of spite. Just as he was about to announce the new relocation address, the other person urgently said, "We can't move. Mr. Marcus, please come back quickly, something big has happened at the company." After finished this phone call, no matter how unwilling he was, he left in a hurry. I later learned that Chloe had stolen a large sum of money from Marcus's company, which was now suffering a financial collapse, with all its operations in trouble. Everyone knew Chloe was highly valued by Marcus. He had given her his complete trust, so approvals for funds went smoothly, and what Chloe did took almost no effort. I also learned that there had originally been an opportunity to stop the losses. When was withdrawing money from the bank, it was held up by the approval process. If had paid a little more attention, he would have seen this notification, but Marcus hadn't been to the company for a whole month during that period. Previously, Chloe had coaxed Marcus into signing his name on a blank piece of paper. Using that signature, Chloe forged a proxy agreement. Consequently, the held-up funds smoothly entered Chloe's card just a day later. Marcus's company was now just a shell company, even owing large sums for many projects. Partner companies came knocking, demanding he settle the payments. Just from the text messages, I could sense Marcus's pain and torment. But perhaps it was shame, or perhaps he knew I would help him. Marcus didn't contact me like before. Instead, a week after receiving the text messages, I saw a piece of news. Marcus personally pushed Chloe off an 18-story building, then committed suicide. Many people lamented this. Many former colleagues also contacted me. Looking at the overwhelming text messages, I calmly removed my SIM card. Then I broke the card into 2 pieces and threw it out the window. What was past was past. My new life was just beginning. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.